Hey guys, it's Jeff here. I'm going to talk about a couple movies here tonight, back to back. So if you see one of these videos and not the other, go check out the other. Well, actually, just watch this video because the other movie's stupid. But I watched this movie called Chloe that stars Julianne Moore, Amanda Seyfried, and Liam Neeson. I don't know if you haven't seen the trailer for it. It's like one of these like Fatal Attraction type things. It actually kind of reminded me of that movie a couple years back from I think the director of Fatal Attraction. It's called Unfaithful with Diane Lane and Richard Gere and the French guy. It kind of reminded me of that. Although this movie is, it's like one of those sexy thrillers, but the emphasis is on sexy and not so much the thriller part, which is okay. Um, I kind of like that it was top heavy, and I like a movie that bills itself as a sexy movie that tries to constantly be sexy the whole time and like arouse you. I'm sorry if this discussion gets a little awkward, but although I did have a problem with it being a little too top heavy on the sexy, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Basically, Julianne Moore is this doctor. She's professional businesswoman. Her husband's Liam Neeson. He's a music professor, and they're both they've given up their lives to their careers. Their marriage is kind of staled, but she's still has that natural need to feel desired, um, which I don't think is like exclusive to women, but I'm sure maybe they feel a little bit stronger. Usually, guys are just happy if you're dropping your pants. Um, and she's suspicious of her husband. He stays out sometimes. Spends a lot of times with his students, like drinking with his students, a little bit, going to bars with them, getting some weird texts, right? So she's suspicious of him, and she hires this hooker, call girl, whatever you want to call it, played by Amanda Seyfried, who is she was in Mean Girls, and the only other movie I remember her in was Jennifer's Body, but I remembered her. So she's very she's very pretty. Her lips and her eyes are almost a little too big, but she is very pretty. Of course, Julianne Moore is her usual sexy MILF self. But she hires this call girl to tempt her husband and see what he does. And she does it once, and he doesn't go through with it, but he does flirt with her. And then Julianne Moore's like, well, let's do it one more time. She gives her money to do it again, and then that time something happens. And then things kind of keep happening after Julianne Moore doesn't want them to anymore. And with without spoiling too much, pretty much every time they keep meeting after Amanda Seyfried has had sex with her husband, they keep meeting and talking and seeing if he keeps trying to contact her or whatever. And basically every time this Amanda Seyfried girl keeps telling Julianne Moore what he does to her, and like in very graphic detail. And the movie is a lot of dirty talk, and that's good. Julianne Moore starts to get turned on a little bit by hearing about what her husband's doing with this little girl. And the movie, that's like its strength, is it understands what a turn on dirty talk can be. It has some very good, not sex scenes, although there is like basically one sex scene, and but the movie's still very, it's a sexy movie. I'm starting to repeat myself here, but and I don't want to spoil anything, but there is a twist, and I saw it coming about 2 minutes before it happens, and it was still it was a good twist. It was one of those ones like once you realize it, you're like, oh, this is what's gonna happen. Why didn't I think of that before? I hope I'm not saying too much, but it's a good twist. And the problem is that the movie, while it's entertaining and sexy throughout, like it takes a while to get to that twist, and then after it ends kind of quickly when you start to get to the scary, psychotic, needy relationship stuff going on. It ends kind of very abruptly and weakly. It had like a weak ending to it. And I thought too, like I'm like, oh, this is just starting to get going, right? Um, I can't say too much, right? But I'm like, oh, this is just starting to get going. This is where the crazy comes out, and we're gonna have some crazy psycho stalking shit going on, right? But then it just ends really quickly, and it's really one of the few times. Like I think the movie's like just above an hour and a half, and it's a movie that could have been like almost 2 hours or 2 hours. I would have been good with it. I would have liked more thriller stuff at the end. That's my main knock against it, because like otherwise it is a pretty, like I said, the movie is it's kind of it's hot. It's like a turn on. Maybe not something though. Like, it depends on how your spouse like would respond to this type of thing. But I think it's like a good movie to watch with whoever. Probably not with your buddies, but like I said, the ending could have used a little more. But it is entertaining for the most part, and it's smart. It talks about like adult relationships in a pretty realistic and honest way, even though it does, stretch realism a bit. But like the way relationships can stale, the way you could flirt with other people, the way you could be tempted, the way you could be turned on by hearing about something that your spouse has done with someone else, the way you could feel getting old, like Julianne Moore says to her husband at some point, like, I look in the, or I think I'm 19, but then I look in the mirror, like stuff like that. It was good, but like I said, it's just, I don't know. I wanted a little bit more. There didn't have to be like crazy violence at the end, like Unfaithful or whatever, but I just could have gone for a little more excitement near the end. Like I would have liked the thriller side to be as exciting and fun, at least for 20 minutes or something, as the sexy part that builds up to it. So, I mean, overall, I was like, if it would have had more at the end, I was leaning towards like 4 stars. But it's just like an okay little like one of those sexy thriller movies. Like if you like them, you're gonna like it pretty much. I think. I thought it was a pretty hot movie. This is the weirdest review ever, but I'm gonna give it a like 3.5 out of 5 stars, and I say you should check it out. Much more than the movie I'm about to talk about right now.